Ah, it's called Theaters of War. Nice little thing, a documentary. And it deals with when the Pentagon and the CIA, wow, I wonder if they ever had the OSS too, but in Hollywood, and how war films are controlled by the Pentagon, Department of Defense, the Central Intelligence Agency, the FBI, local police, state police, county police, when you're dealing with the U.S. government and local, federal, and state, and well, county too. How they, if you're going to use their equipment, their personnel, or anything else, nothing, they want to see the script. If you're shooting a movie in Chicago and you're insulting the Chicago Police Department or the City Hall, how long do you think that's going to take? Huh? You're going to get charged for running that police officer. Off duty, you're going to get charged. On duty, you're going to get charged more. When you're dealing with U.S. military equipment, they want to see the script. You want to use an aircraft carrier, and I do mean use an aircraft carrier. You're using that aircraft carrier, you're using the personnel, and oh, by the way, everything else. They're willing to give it to you for nothing. They're going to give that soldier or sailor or Marine over there for nothing. You get to use their camp, their base, their equipment for nothing. Oh, you don't want them to look at your script? Then you're not using their equipment. In America, you can find someone with an F-16. Yeah, in private hands. An F-35 is something else, but an F-16 you can have in private hands. Or you can find a model maker that has a F-16. Military movies have been made with models. Oh yeah, they fly. You remove the wires, but they fly. You can do a lot of things. You can have an aircraft carrier, and are a model aircraft carriers out there which you can use. So no, you're like, oh yeah, Hollywood doesn't do that. A lot of movies are not made because the military either finds it's too much fantasy into it, gives their personnel a bad name, nothing else. Well, they also say, well, there's a lot of cover-up in the thing. Sexual assault was covered up. Not for long it wasn't. You know what fragging is? In Vietnam, it was reported in Army. What happens? The soldiers drop a hand grenade, a fragmentation grenade, into the bed of an officer. That was pretty well common at the end of the Vietnam War, that soldiers didn't want to go. The war is over with. We don't want to go out marching into the fields and step on a landmine. And the thing about rape. Oh, remember, Vietnam War was basically a young man's war. I mean, a really young man's war. Officers were young, no experience. And of course, you have to understand that. If you're being shot at, that's a big difference than being a civilian, being a civilian and not getting shot at. Now, if police officers get shot at, and they say, well, these are all cover-up. The CIA, oh my God, it's involved in this and involved in that. Why, all this was top secret. Now, for long it wasn't. What did you do about drug trafficking? Well, he's just dropped in a load of pot or heroin and using his CIA position. Well, he was a drug dealer before, now he's a drug dealer now. What did you do about them? They usually overdosed. How does the FBI take care of bad actors within there? They find themselves in jail. How does the military deal with bad actors within your ranks? Court-martial them. Oh, yes. During World War II, 2 million U.S. service personnel got court-martialed from minor things of mistreating of civilians, mistreating of prisoners, stealing was always a good one. Bank robbery, you got the that movie about gold and everything else. Yeah, they got caught. They got court-martialed. They went back as prisoners, either prisoners in Europe or prisoners in the United States. That says something. Oh, Daddy was in World War II. What did Daddy do with World War II? Daddy was in jail because he was a thief. That's one of the things. That's what I think about the Iraqi War. You remember the Iraqi War? Did you see the reports on the Iraqi War? Recruiters were picking up street gang members to fight in the Iraqi War, especially in Chicago. Yes, what they looked at that, well, you're not such a bad guy after all, and how would you like to go into military service? And we will pay you. They go over to Iraq and Afghanistan, and they did the same thing over there that they did here. Wow. Was it reported? Yes, it was. Did you watch the 6 o'clock news or PBS? Did you see it on there? Yes, it was. Was it written up in, say, Army or Air Force, Leatherneck? Yes, it was. But it's a big secret. They don't say, well, of course not. You have to go dig for it. That's what journalists do. There's a recent scandal about that's something else. Now back to that thing. Scripts are controlled by Hollywood when they deal with the military and you're using military personnel or equipment or locations. Now you could just as well take Vietnam and put them in Florida and put them in the swamps. Of course, that you're going to deal with the state down there. You want them waist deep or neck deep in water? Oh, there's a lot of training grounds around. You can go in and rent a place. You can rent army space. You want to see a tank fire something? Machine guns that go fire? You can rent the equipment. You can rent it from the U.S. military. If you approved of your script, mind you, you get it for nothing. I mean, you're talking 50 caliber bullets out like this. Even blanks, folks, they're expensive. Firing a 50 caliber machine gun is not cheap. But again, they basically say, well, they did this, and there was always these big cover-ups. You have to go looking, the Freedom of Information Act. And basically, the thing is, this little theater of war is anti-military, anti-CIA, anti-government. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, yeah. But again, is there cover-ups everywhere? Well, yeah. I knew a woman who military servicing. Her rifle was her height. And she would run into this stuff. And it was very simple. And she simply said, you touch me, I want to touch you. What do you mean? You touch me, I touch you. You will fall asleep, I turn you into a eunuch. Women in the military ever get the ones women who jump out of airplanes? They have their wings? Oh, yeah. You're gonna play around with them? Oh, no, you're not. They will cut you up in little pieces. And, of course, this thing's all slanted at, the CIA. I guess they had something against the CIA. Oh, that thing. Of course, as one of the reporters said, you could always go and look into British military, Canadian, Mexican, French, German. When somebody wants to make a military type movie over there and wants that thing, the government comes in and says, you can't say this, you can't do this, we don't shoot that. That's right, all countries do the same thing. So when I say that thing, it's nice, that thing, it opened my eyes. Well, actually it didn't. A lot of things. Well, they torture. Yes, they do, don't they? If you want quick information from a prisoner, what do? Oh, you sit them in a chair, put a little chemical on their arm, and 15 minutes later, they're simply blabbing when they start potty training. Do they use electric shocks? Rather stupid. But that's not how they do it. They put a chemical on them. All military branches, Central Intelligence Agency, why waste the time with waterboarding? They carry this little valve. They have this little, usually a little brush. And they wrap it on the arm. Oh. And it's like watching a person get high. And they start talking. And that thing. And then what you do, you should basically get them out of it. You take a cold bucket of water and he was waterboarded. No, he wasn't. But that is, I'm basically saying, I find it interesting. I find it inaccurate, but hey, if you want to look at it, go look at it. It's a nice little doctor thing. Buy it. You don't have to buy it. Go get it at your library. Or as I do, I ordered it from another library. That's all. So, I will talk about more documentaries. I'm going to fill up this site. Okay, goodbye.